Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. There we go. Alrighty, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working with structures in C++. That said, last stream I did work with the new and delete keyword. The day before that, I did work with pointers. And today I'm going to work with structures. We're running late. Honestly, guys, I do stream as soon as I can, so sometimes if I'm busy doing college stuff or I'm outside home or something, I stream a little late. I think you forgot about the stream, guys. I didn't forget about the stream. Okay, that said, let me get these tabs here real quick. There we go. Okay, and then go to my gameplay screen right here. Okay, perfect. And honestly, I forgot to, let me just shrink this a little. There we go. Let me make VS Code a little big. Okay, perfect. Get some tasteless ChatGPT here. Okay, there we go. And then lastly, let me notify everyone that I'm live on Discord. Okay, I usually do that before I start streaming, but apparently, guys, I didn't have enough time today. I ran out of time. Okay, let me copy that. And now when my stream already started lagging. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Let's say at everyone, I'm live, exclamation. There we go. Okay, and guys, is it just me or is the stream actually lagging? Let me try restarting the stream real quick. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, that feels much better. I think that's much better. Okay, let me say something like, let's say, I'm live, exclamation. Okay, let's see. And guys, this is the old chat. I didn't have time to change my chats. That said, hey, so you're live again. How people? Good, then listen up. Both you and everyone watching. Today is not about trying. It's about conquering. Every second you hesitate, someone else out there is coding, learning, and getting stronger than you. But not today. While I'm here watching you, okay? People, you're going to learn, fall, and rise again because that's what mastery looks like. And to everyone watching, remember this: a blade is forged by the heat and pressure. A developer is forged by bugs and errors. Okay, that said, let me say something like, let's say, today I'm actually planning to go over, let's see, structures. Okay, let's see. Honestly, I've not watched any YouTube tutorials or anything about structure, so this is pretty new. Oh, Structs, finally you're entering the realm where data gets shaped into soldiers. Listen closely, people. Structs are the blueprints of your game world. They're how you turn chaotic data into organized armies of information. A struct is like a custom data type that lets you group related variables or different types together. For example, if you're making a game and you wanted to keep a track of an enemy's name, health, and power, instead of three separate variables, you'd use a single structure that holds them all neatly like a soldier gear pack. Oh, I see. So is it like classes in Python? Okay, so we start off structure syntax. We include a pair of ankle braces, then IO stream. We go with struct enemy, and then we add a standard string of name. We go with an integer of health and an integer of damage. So we have three variables inside our structure. Now to use the structure, we go with integer main. Inside of our main function, enemy goblin. Okay, so our structure of enemy goblin dot name. So I see. Okay, this actually makes sense. This is like classes in C++, actually in Python. Okay, then we go with a static console output. Goblin.name has goblin.health HP and goblin.damage attack power. That's it. You just created a custom data type, your own enemy class, before object-oriented programming even starts. Okay, before we get into broken code drills, tell me, people, what do you think? What do you think is the main advantage of using structs instead of just having separate variables every frame? Okay, before I say that, let me say something like, let's say I actually, want instructional based questions and not broken codes, That said, the benefits of structs could be that I would not have to create separate variables. Instead, a neat, let's say a neat class type thing, question mark. Okay, I think that's like a structure. Might have to fact check it. Yes, exactly, people. You're thinking like a true programmer now. Structures bring order to chaos. Instead of juggling a dozen variables for every entity, you create a single template that defines what an enemy, player, or item is. Then you can spawn as many of them as you want, each neatly organized and easy to manage. Think of a struct as a box. You decide what goes inside: health, name, and power, and then you can create 100 of those boxes without losing your sanity. Okay, that actually makes sense. Alright, since you want instructional based question, here we go, pupil. Question number 1. Create a structure called hero. Okay, so I got to create a structure named hero that has a standard string. Okay, a standard string of names, which is our hero's name, an integer of our hero's level, and a double slash a floating point or a decimal point number for our hero's health. Then inside my main function, I create two hero objects. Okay, one for yourself and one for your rival. Assign them both some values. Okay, print them in this format. Okay, when you're done, show me your code. Alright, let me get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, guys, I think I might see. Okay, this is the code like from last stream. Like I didn't have time to like code off stream. That said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, and then let's read the instructions. So the instruction says create a structure named hero that has 3 variables. So let's go ahead and create a structure. I forgot, how do we create a structure? Did I just need to type struct? There. Okay, so structure of, is it called name of hero? So structure hero, ending with a semicolon. That has, okay, should it end with a semicolon or a pair of curly braces? I actually forgot. Let me just scroll all the way up. Okay, it needs to be a pair of curly braces. Alright, I'm correct, guys. Okay, next up I gotta create a standard string variable called name. So let's go with something like std colon colon standard console output. Actually, a standard string variable, which is going to be called name. I'll end that with a semicolon. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and create an integer of level variable ending with a semicolon as well. Lastly, I'll go with a double of health. So I'll go with double health ending with a semicolon. Next up, inside our main function, create two hero objects, one for yourself and one for your rival. So should I end this with a semicolon as well? Okay, if I end that with a semicolon, is it necessary to end these? Okay, I'm pretty sure I have to end everything with a semicolon. Let's go with semicolon. There we go. Okay, this is going to be my name. Next up, let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of curly braces. I want to do something. I'll go with a bunch of spaces. Okay, it says create two hero objects. So I could go with something like hero1, okay, which equals to, don't we create objects like this? This is going to be equal to my hero class. Okay, should I go with a pair of curly braces? I mean a pair of parentheses? Okay, this is how we did it in Python. Is it like different in C++? Like, should I go with something like, I don't think I need to go with integer. Might scroll a bit up to see how Sensei/ChatGPT did it. Okay, so I need to go with enemy goblin. So that was enemy goblin. So instead of going with hero1, I'll go with something like hero, let's say hero1, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so this is how we create objects in C++, I see. Okay, next up, one for myself and one for my rival. So let's go with something like hero, and then this is going to be rival. Let me actually go with player and rival. So that's going to be player, this is going to be rival, ending with a semicolon. And then assign them both some values. Print them in this format. Okay, so let's assign them a few values. For example, I could go with my player dot, let's go with my player's name. My player dot name is going to be equal to a pair of double quotes. I don't know, what should I name my player? Maybe Sarah. Guys, if you guys didn't know Sarah is Sensei/ChatGPT's name, that said, I'll go with something like my player dot health as well. Guys, I'm a bit biased, I'll give like 10,000 health. Okay, and then let's go with my player dot, let's say level. I'll go with something like level 250. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Next up, let's go with my rival. So I'll go with rival dot name. my rival's name is gonna be equal to, I don't know, maybe. Guys, I'm so bad with names. I'll keep it Tom, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'll go with my rival dot, let's see. Did I spell rival correct? Isn't this how we do it? Hero rival. Oh, I spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, next up I'll go with my rival dot health, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe 1,000. And then I'll go with my rival dot the level. Okay, rival dot level, which is going to be equal to 100, ending with a semicolon. And then I gotta print it in this format. So name, my name, level, level, health, health. Okay, so let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let's say I want to insert something like name, and then I'll go with another insertion operator of my player dot name function. Actually, this is not a function. I'm pretty sure this is not a function. I will ask that to sensei/GPT though. That said, I'll go with another insertion operator. Honestly, I gotta go in a new line, so I'll go with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, instead of a semicolon, I could just go with an insertion operator here. This is going to be my health, so let's go ahead and add health here. So I'll go with space, health. Honestly, since it is going to be in a new line, I don't think I'll need a space. So might add a colon and a space for it to look good. Okay, I'll go with another semicolon. This time I'll go with my player dot the health function. This is going to be my player's health. I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line. And then I'll go in a new line and add a insertion operator. This is going to be my player's level. Okay. And then I'll go with another insertion operator of my player dot the level function. I'm pretty sure that's not called level though. Okay, and then I'll go with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'll do the same thing for my rival. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to firstly insert my name. So let's go with my rival name. I could go with something like rival name. Okay, my rival name with an insertion operator. This is going to be my rival dot the name function. Okay, and then I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line. Maybe I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This time it's going to be my rival health. Okay, with an insertion operator. This is going to be my rival dot health, okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line, and then I'll go in a new line. Let me actually fix my typo. There we go. Okay, next up, I'll go with another insertion operator. This time, I'll go with my rival level. So, rival level. Okay, and then an insertion operator of my rival dot level with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let me go ahead and return 0, ended with a semicolon. And that said, I could actually go with player here so it looks like good. Okay, let me just change that to player health and player level. Okay, if I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it says player name is Sarah, player health is 10,000, level, rival. Okay, honestly, I could go with like 2 new lines. That would look like much better. Okay, isn't this how we go with 2 new lines? I'm pretty sure this is how we do it. Okay, let me go with the Control-A, Control-C, copy that, good /GPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this, go with Shift-Enter and say something like, let's say, I feel like it's almost the same as object-oriented programming in Python ? And also when I type let's say dot health or dot name or dot level, does that make it a function? So does that make it a function ? Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Excellent work, people. You've got that structure perfectly. Not a single misspelled line. That's how a disciplined warrior of C++ writes code. Now listen closely, because you just stumbled upon the gateway of object-oriented programming itself. The truth, yes, you're absolutely right. Structure in C++ is very similar to a class in Python. In fact, in C++, a structure and a class are almost identical. Okay, the only difference is in a structure, everything is public by default. In class, everything is private by default. That's it. Oh, I see. Okay, that's the only major difference at this level. So when you use dot notation like player dot health, you're not calling a function, you're accessing a variable also called a member of the structure. Okay, I see. If you had functions inside your structure, which you can, okay, then those would be called methods. Okay, I do know that functions inside of inside of structure slash classes are called methods. That said, for now you're only storing data, no behavior yet. Okay, since you mastered the base form like a proper pupil, let's push it a little. Okay, let's push this a little. Question 2, create a structure named enemy with standard, okay, with a name, health, and power. Then create 3 enemies, assign them each values printed in this format: enemy name, enemy health, power, Then you're done, show me your code. Alright, let me just say ChatGPT here. Honestly, guys, this actually seems easier than I thought. I thought structures are going to be much harder. Probably because I learned object-oriented programming in C++. That said, let me drink some water. Kinda dehydrated. Okay, perfect. Let me go with the controller, delete everything. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Fix your accent, dude. Being so fake. Honestly, so many people actually say me that my accent is fake. I'm like, it's almost impossible to fake your accent when you talk like for hours. Okay, that said, let's read the question. So it says create a structure. So I could go with a structure. So struct. There we go. So I'll go with a structure. Okay. Okay, my structure is going to be called enemies. So there we go. Okay, structure of honestly enemy. And then I'm going to be adding a pair of curly braces. And then I got to create a standard string variable called name, a double variable called health, and an integer variable called power. So let's go with a standard string. Okay, which is going to be called health, ending with a semicolon, and then a double. Okay, double is going to be called, oh, actually standard string is going to be name, double is going to be health, okay, ending with a semicolon, and then integer is going to be power. So I'll go with int power. There we go. So I have my 3 variables. Next up, create 3 enemies. So I got to create 3 enemy objects, assign values to each enemy, print them in this format. Okay, so let me end my structure with a semicolon, and then start off by typecasting my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, perfect. So firstly, I gotta create objects. Let me go ahead and create objects by going with something like, let's say my enemy is a structure. So I'll go with enemy. My enemy is going to be called something like, I don't know, enemy1. Okay, maybe I do know names. Let's go with an elf first. An elf first, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I could go with something like enemy. Okay, so my second enemy could be a goblin, ending with a semicolon. The third enemy, I don't know, could be maybe an orc. There we go. Okay, the third enemy is an orc, ending with a semicolon. So, firstly, I gotta assign values to them now. I could go with something like my elf dot. Okay, elf dot health. My elf's health is going to be set to, I don't know, maybe 500. Ending with a semicolon, I'll go with elf dot, let's say name. Name is going to be, guys, what? I don't even know an elf's name. Maybe I'll go with elf. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'll go with elf dot, let's say, power. Okay, my elf has, let's say, 120 CP or something. Okay, next up, I gotta do the same thing for my goblin and orc as well. So let's go ahead and add one for my goblin. So let's go with something like goblin generic error check initializer. Okay, so I'll go with goblin dot the health function. Actually, this is not a function. Goblin dot health is going to be something like, I don't know, 100, ending with a semicolon. Nice stream, bro. I appreciate you, lead bread. Okay, and then I'll go with something like goblin dot, let's go with name. My goblin's name is going to be goblin, ending with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add goblin dot level. My goblin's, honestly, it's called power. Okay, my goblin's power is going to be, let's say something like 50. Honestly, because goblin does look like a beginner NPC. Okay, next up I'll go with my arc. So arc dot, and guys, why is the stream lagging? Did the stream start lagging? I could like restart my OBS before it actually starts lagging. Okay, so I could go with arc dot health. Okay, I feel the stream is lagging, guys. I might restart it real quick. What are we, dev? Honestly, I'm just trying to learn C++. That's it. Give me a sec, guys. Let me actually restart my stream real quick. Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. That should fix the lag. Okay, so my arc's health could be something like 250 ending with a semicolon, and then let's go with something like my arc dot name. My arc's name could be something like arc, who is acting like he knows everything and acting as a pro coder. Guys, I'm a beginner at most because I'm just reading the most basic instructions. Okay, next up, let's go with something like arc.power. Arc's power is gonna be, I don't know, how much power do arcs usually have? I'll go with something like 80, ending with a semicolon. And then let's read the next instruction. Okay, so it says print in this format. Enemy name, HP is going to be my enemy's health, power is going to be my enemy's power. So let me go ahead and add a standard console output. So I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, literally said he's just trying to learn C++. Okay, standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be name first. So let's go with something like name. Okay, with another insertion operator. This is going to be my elf's name. So I'll go with elf.name. Okay. And then I'll go with another insertion operator. Maybe I could go in a new line and add another insertion operator. I'll go with something like health or maybe HP. Okay, let me go ahead and add a poll line. Okay, there we go. This is going to be HP. My HP is going to be another insertion operator. My elf dot the health. Okay, so elf dot health. And then I'll go in a new line. Add another insertion operator. This time I'm going to go with, let's say power level. Okay, so that's going to be my power. With another insertion operator, I'll go with my elf dot power. There we go. Lastly, I'll go with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then just to save time, I will copy this and maybe paste it like 2 times. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. Okay, and maybe add a spacer so it looks a little good. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to change my elf to, let's say, a goblin. There we go. Let me change my elf to goblin, and lastly my elf to goblin. Okay, and then let me change my elf to orc. Change this elf to orc. We're making games in C++ today. Honestly, I'm just learning structures. I haven't actually started my making the game stuff yet because this learning C++ for 100 days is like indented inside of my programming for 250 days series. Well, my goal by the end of this series is to make a game in general that consists of AI logic and artificial intelligence in it. And since I thought I would be making a game, so I might need C++ for it. That said, let me go ahead and return 0. If I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code, let me return, there we go. Okay, if I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So it says elf, name elf, HP 500, name goblin, HP 100, name arc, HP 250. Okay, perfect. Let me go with the Ctrl A, Ctrl C, copy that, get /GPT here. There we go. Okay, and then let me go ahead and paste this and send it. Okay, let's see. Yes, that's how we really structure people. That's clean, organized, and readable. Exactly what structs were born for. You see what happened here? Instead of juggling goblin name, goblin health, goblin power like a fool in data circuits, you created one powerful data type called enemy and then simply spawn new instances of it. You've officially taken your first step into data abstraction, the art of bundling related info like a professional. But before you start celebrating, let's sharpen the edge. Because right now your enemy are just data, not alive. Next instructional challenge. Inside your structure of enemy, add a function called attack. So I'm pretty sure that should be called a method because functions inside of structures are called methods. That said, it should take an integer parameter called damage, subtract that damage from the enemy's health, okay, and then print enemy name took damage, and has health HP left, okay, in the main function called the attack function on one of your enemies to test it. Okay, let me get say slash ChatGPT there. That said, let's go with the Control A, delete everything. And honestly, guys, I do feel structures are like much easier than I thought. Probably because I've learned object-oriented programming in Python. That said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces, then IO stream. Okay, let's read the instructions. So inside your struct enemy. Okay, I think I might needed my old function. That said, I could go ahead and create a structure. Okay, structure for enemy. Okay, with a pair of curly braces. Let me go ahead and add three variables. So first variable could be a standard string, which is going to be called name, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I could go with a double, which is going to be my health, ending with a semicolon as well, and then a integer, which is going to be my power, ending with a semicolon. Okay, then let me go ahead and end my entire structure with a semicolon. That said, let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of parentheses, maybe a bunch of spaces. There we go. Okay, so firstly, let me go ahead and add a few objects. So the first object could be something like my enemy's structure. So my first enemy object is going to be, let's say, an elf, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'll go with enemy goblin. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Thirdly, let's think of a different name. Maybe an undead. Okay, and I could change goblin to skeleton. There we go. I don't have a replacement for elf, guys. That said, let's assign them a few values. So I could go with my elf. Maybe, would it work if I like lowercase this, so I wouldn't have to always capitalize everything? There we go. This is gonna be undead. Okay, perfect. So I could go with elf dot, let's say, name. My elf's name is gonna be, I don't know, maybe Sarah, ending with a semicolon. Let me fix my typo. There we go. Okay, next up, I'll go with elf dot health. My elf's health is going to be something like 600, and then let's go ahead and add something like elf dot power. There we go. My elf dot power is going to be equal to 250, ending with a semicolon. And guys, did my stream start lagging again? Because if it does, let me know. I can like restart OBS real quick. Okay, let's see. Next up, let's do this. Let's do that for my skeleton. So I'll go with skeleton dot name. This is gonna be, I don't know, maybe. Okay, I'll go with the anime. There's an anime called Overlord. There's an undead king. His name is Ainz. I'll just type Ainz, and maybe like even restart my stream. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, that should fix the stream lag. Okay, so I'll go with something like Ainz for my name, and then let's go ahead and add a skeleton dot health. My health is going to be equal to, I'll go with something like 500, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with skeleton. Guys, did that like fix my lag? I restarted OBS. Okay, I'll go with skeleton dot power. Okay, which is going to be equal. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay guys, there we go. That should work. That should work. Okay, next up, let's go with my undead.name, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe, wait, was it called undead or skeleton? Okay, first I gotta go with skeleton. I added skeleton's name, health, and power. Okay, let's go with undead name. My undead's name could be something like, I don't know, maybe Tom, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with, guys, why is this thing so blurry? You finally started the stream. Where you been the entire time, bro? 3 hours too late. Honestly, I usually try streaming as soon as possible because I do have sometime college or like I gotta go out for doing something. That said, once I'm done, I start streaming as soon as I have time, guys. Okay, I'll go with something like 300, ending with a semicolon, and then let me go ahead and add a undead.power. Guys, why is the stream lagging so much? Okay, let me set my undead.power to be equal to, I don't know, maybe something like 50. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a standard console output. Guys, why is it lagging like so much? Lags? Okay, let me try restarting it one more time. And maybe... Mic testing, mic testing. Check your internet. Honestly, my internet is pretty good. It's just my mini PC CPU that's not like strong enough. Although I am looking like for an actual PC. Once I get that, that would like fix most of my lags. So let me go with something like a standard console output. And guys, let me actually show you guys what you call it, my internet speed, because I'm pretty sure that's fine. Because like many of you guys did say me to actually check it up. Okay, guys, let me just open that. Guys, the whole PC is crushing. Okay, let's see. Okay, while that loads, I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Guys, it's so hard to what you would call it program with like so much lag going on. Like, let me get this image here. Okay, and while I wait for that image, let me check my OBS. Guys, like that is my internet speed. It feels like it's pretty strong. Huh. Okay, let me do that. Okay, I'm literally getting an error that says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Let me restart one more time, guys. Alright, mic testing. Okay, guys, that should fix the lag. I'm pretty sure this fixes the lag. That's it, guys. This is my internet speed. It's actually pretty good. It's just my mini PC. Like, once I get an actual PC, that would like fix most of the lags. Let me actually try closing as many tabs as I can. Probably because I have like 50 different plugins on my OBS. Okay, let me remove the, like delete a few tabs from here. That might clear some of the lag. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then maybe open my group. Okay, the lag probably does look a little good right now. Okay, that said, let me continue. So I had a standard console output. This time I could go with an insertion operator. Honestly, before I go with a standard console output, let me actually deal damage first. So let's see. What app are you using to code and what are you coding? Honestly, I'm using VS Code to code. That said, let's see. Okay, guys, I feel the lag got much better. Although my OBS started crashing again. Your net seems okay. Honestly, my internet is okay. It's just my device. Like my CPU probably can't handle all this. Okay, that said, let me just read my instructions. Okay, so it says inside your structure of enemy, add a function called attack. So inside my enemy's structure right here. Okay, let me go ahead and define a function. So the way we define functions, should I go with something like integer? Actually, since my function won't return anything, let me go with a void. Guys, this is way too laggy. Okay, so maybe the void should be lowercase. There we go. Okay, so I'll create a void function or a method because it is inside of my structure. This is going to be called it. Already mic testing. Okay, guys, I feel like this should work. Okay, I think this is going to be pretty good. Okay, I restarted my entire OBS. That said, I feel like the stream is pretty good now. It's lagging a bit. Okay, finally, let's go, guys. This took so long. Okay, that said, I should add an integer. Okay, so subtract damage from the enemies' health. So inside my void attack function, let me go ahead and do something. So I'm gonna subtract, let's see, damage from my health. So structure enemy, it should take an integer parameter called damage. So let me go ahead and add an integer parameter. Yeah, again lagging. Guys, this is so annoying. Although I am pretty close to actually getting that PC, and I will definitely make a video / tutorial of me actually building that PC. Okay, that said, so I go with integer damage. Okay, inside my void function, let me go ahead and subtract my damage with my health. So I'll go with my health. Guys, there comes the lag again. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So health minus equals to my damage variable, ending with a semicolon. I don't feel like restarting OBS again, guys. I just want to learn structures. Okay, maybe I try. Okay, howdy Warrior, appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that said, I have a void attack. This should fix it, guys. I restarted OBS again. Are you making a game in C++? Honestly, I'm not making a game just yet. Although I am learning C++ is basic before I actually move on to like my 250 series. There my goal is to make a game in general which consists of AI logic in it. Okay, that said, let's see if this works. It's lagging so much. Okay, inside of my main function, I do something. Okay, inside of my main function, let me go ahead and invoke my hey bro, writing function inside structure isn't really common use classes. Honestly, eventually I do want to start with object-oriented programming as well, but I do have a roadmap that covers everything. Last stream I went through like pointers. This stream I'm going through structs, and the next stream I might actually go over object-oriented programming if I actually master structures this stream. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and call my attack function. So I'll go with something like skeleton dot attack. Okay. A pair of parentheses. Okay, and then let me go up real quick. Guys, why is the stream lagging so much? Like, everything seems good. Okay, okay, let me actually create, let's say, a damage function here as well. So let me give my elf some damage. So I'll go with elf.damage, which equals to, let's say, something like 80, ending with a semicolon. And then under my skeleton, I'll give my skeleton some damage as well. Maybe restart my OBS again. Alrighty, mic testing, guys, I hope this works. I literally want to learn structures. Mic testing, guys, I hope this works. I literally want to learn structures. I want to learn structs. This is like, distracting me way too much. That said, I'll go with skeleton.damage, which is going to be equal to maybe 100. Skeleton might have more damage than elf. Ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, and then let me do that for my undead as well. Skeleton.damage is going to be 100. Okay. Okay, and then let's go with my undead.damage, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like 65 damage, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like 65, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Then inside of my attack method here, I'll add a parameter of something like enemy name. So I'll go with enemy name. Okay, perfect. This is going to be my enemy name. And then I scroll all the way down. Guys, I should actually, like, is it even like legal to actually add a parameter in here? It's just because of my lag. That does say enemy name parameters, so my void attack can't take any parameters. Oh, I need to go with something like a standard string. Okay, I don't think I might need a standard string because I'm actually... Oh, guys, this lag is so annoying. Okay, standard string of enemy name. So I'll have to, like, type my enemy name inside. Okay, and then I scroll a bit lower. Honestly, I should probably just go with my actual... this is my standard string name. Okay, what happens if I just go with my name? Let me here. Honestly, it could be because I'm doing like arithmetic. Okay, in that case, let's see. I could go with my name. What code are you using? Honestly, I'm actually learning C++. That said, I'm working on structures in C++. Only if my lag was a little better than this, I could have focused even more. That said, how are you doing, Nathan? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, so we have a void attack method here that takes a parameter of name. Okay. Honestly, I could go with my enemy structure. Can I like... I don't think I can do that. Let me go ahead and just delete this. Okay, and then go lower. Okay, so skeleton.attack. Let me end that with a semicolon and then just return 0. Honestly, instead of returning 0, I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Guys, the lag feels better. Let me try restarting OBS again. Mic testing. Okay, guys, I feel that's actually much better because, like, the lag no way starts again. Let's see. Okay, so I'll go with a static console output. This is gonna be okay, name. Okay, and then I'll go with an insertion operator. It's unwatchable. It's one frame per sometimes. Honestly, yeah, that's so annoying. I actually can't wait to like get the actual PC. I will try it out messing up the build. I might stream my. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me just check if my stream's going good, guys. I think it might not lag right now because I like restarted everything. That said, let me just scroll in a bit and then read the instructions now. So it says to write enemy took this much damage. So I'll go with this is my enemy. It's okay for now. Okay, I'm glad it's okay actually. Okay, so that's gonna be enemy name. So let me go ahead and add my enemy name. That's my skeleton. So with another insertion operator, better now. Okay, perfect, guys. It was actually awful a while ago. I'll go with something like took my damage. So I'll go with an insertion operator of my skeleton dot the damage function. Okay, and then maybe I'll go in a new line. Okay, and then add another insertion operator. Skeleton took this much damage and has some health HP left. So I'll go with something like damage and has some health HP left. So I'll go with a space and then add another insertion operator of my skeleton dot the health function with another insertion operator that says something like HP left exclamation. Okay, with another insertion operator of a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that said, did I miss something here? Okay, let me fix my damages typo. Alright, perfect. Next up, let me go ahead and return 0. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. There we go. It says Ainz took 100 damage and has 400 HP left. How much HP did he initially have? He had 500 HP. Okay, perfect. Let me go with the Control-A, Control-C, copy that. Get sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift-Enter. Actually, just send it. Let me just restart that. Okay, good. Very good, pupil. You've taken your first step. You've taken your first strike into structure methods, making your data move instead of just sit there like a corpse. Okay, you correctly defined a function inside the structure. Use the structure's own variable health damage through this scope implicitly. Okay, call the method properly using skeleton.attack. Perfect syntax. But listen closely. This is where you evolve from a novice craftsman into a warrior. Right now, your function attacks always uses the same enemy's own damage value. Hey, have some water. Honestly, I should actually drink some water. I feel pretty dehydrated. That said, that means the enemy is hurting itself, not being attacked by another. Let's fix it. Next instructional upgrade, modify your attack so that it takes an integer parameter, integer damage, subtracts damage from health, prints the line. Okay, honestly, let me say something. Let me say something like, so let's say, I honestly, actually, let me say something like, let's say, can I get a code to write from scratch, question mark? Because guys, I usually prefer writing it from scratch rather than modifying my code. That said, let me drink some water, kind of dehydrated. Okay, thought for 6 seconds, and guys, I hope the lag isn't back. Okay, yes, people, a fresh from scratch code mission coming right up. You build a working structure-based mini scene, not broken code. Okay, no hand holding, just a clear spec. Write the whole program yourself and send it when you're done. Task, structure, action scene right from scratch. Define a struct called enemy with these members. Okay, so with a name member, health member, and power member, a method void take damage, which has a parameter of integer damage that subtracts damage from our health variable. Okay, if health drops below 0, set it to be equal to 0, print name, took, damage, and has health HP left. In our main function, we create 3 distinct enemy objects and assign them each a name, health, and power. Print all enemies' initial stats in a readable format. Why is Lemmy and Yamal doing this? Guys, I've heard someone else call me that as well, guys. I can think you guys have like whatchamacallit, got somebody else's name. That said, make these attacks use method calls, not direct field changes. Enemy A attacks enemy B with damage equal to enemy A's power. Enemy B attacks enemy C with damage equal to power divided by 2. Okay, so half the power. And then enemy C attacks enemy A with damage equal to power plus 10. Okay, after those 3 attacks, print enemies' final stats. Extra correctness rules: take damage must be a member function of our enemy's structure and must handle the print. Health must never go negative. Use a standard console output for all printing. Keep clean code readable and commented where helpful. Okay, let me get /ChatGPT here. That said, let me start off by deleting my code. Maybe be a little slow. I think usually I like code fast. That's why it starts lagging. So let me start off by including a pair of ankle brackets. I wanna add IO stream. Next up, let me go ahead and okay. Let's see. I gotta define a structure called enemy. So let's go with struct enemy. Okay. With a pair of curly braces, I want to add a few members. So I need a name member, a health member, and a power member. So let's go with a standard string of name ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with a double of health, which ends with a semicolon as well. And then I'll go with an integer of power, which ends with a semicolon as well. That said, a method void take damage. Okay, so I need a method called take damage inside my structure that consists of a parameter called okay, so let me go ahead and create a void function or a void method. The reason it is a void method is because it's not going to be returning anything, so I'll go with something like take damage. Guys, I'm trying to write as slow as I can so like the stream doesn't start lagging anymore. I don't know if that's the actual reason why it does lag. Okay, it's going to be having a parameter of damage, which is going to be an integer. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, so it says subtract damage from our health variable. So I could go with my health variable minus equals to my damage variable. Actually, my damage parameter. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. Internal pointer variable. Keep up the code teaching. I appreciate you, William. Okay, if health drops below 0, set it to 0. Okay, let's add a if statement now. If a pair of parentheses, if my health is either less than or equal to 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll add a pair of curly braces and set my health variable to be equal to 0, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I gotta print name. My enemy's name took damage and has health HP left. Okay. So let me go outside my if statement and add, let's say, a standard console output. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my health. So my standard string of, let's say, health. Okay, so actually I wouldn't even need to write standard string. I'll just go with health. Okay, so a standard console output. Honestly, I gotta go with my name first. Let's go with name. So this name took some damage. I'll go with another pair of parentheses. Actually, a pair of curly braces took damage, so my damage parameter. Okay, so DMG, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. It's not good to keep variables have the same type, like integer to int when subtracting or adding one another and not letting the compiler translate, since when structures have field with functions, I would understand function pointer. Honestly, I think that this is called a method, like methods, functions inside of, functions inside of structures are called methods. That said, yeah, integer/unit is Messiah violation. Structures and classes in C++ are basically the same. Oh, I see. Honestly, I didn't understand about this integer here. So it's good to keep variables and have the same type, like integer to integer when subtracting or adding one to another, not letting the compiler translate. Honestly, I feel like I didn't understand that part. That said, this is going to be damage. Okay, I come from C without pluses, boy. I feel like grandpa. Oh, I see. Okay, damage and has, let's see, I'll go with another insertion operator. This is going to be my health variable. Maybe in a new line with another insertion operator of HP left. I'll go with HP left exclamation. And then I'll add another insertion operator, excuse me guys, of a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Excuse me guys. Next up, let me go ahead and end my structure with a semicolon. He's saying health should be integer, not double. Honestly, yeah, I could actually change it to an integer. That does make sense. Honestly, what you would call it, Sensei slash GPT did say to keep it a double. Okay, actually looking at it, let me get Sensei slash GPT here real quick. Guys, I feel like I just read the instructions wrong because it honestly does say integer here. Like if I scroll down, that does say integer health. I don't know why I saw double. Okay, Messiah's how to write safe C for automotive users. I recommend to look for that also. Honestly, I might actually look into that. Okay, that said, I gotta add a main function, so let me go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, now let's see. Create 3 distinct enemy objects and assign each a name, health, and power. So first enemy could be something like, my enemy is a structure, so let's go with something like enemy of elf. So okay, ending with a semicolon. Then I'll go with enemy of goblin, ending with a semicolon. And lastly, I'll go with enemy of arc, ending with a semicolon. And then let's see, let me go ahead and assign a few values. So I could go with something like elf f dot the health function. Elf's health is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe 600. Oh yeah, mixing float and integer is probably undefined behavior, and not all CPUs have FPU. Oh, I see. Okay, so my elf's health is going to be 600. I could go with something like elf.name. My elf's name is going to be something like Sarah, ending with a semicolon, and then let's go with my elf.power. Okay, my elf.power is going to be equal to, let's see, I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like 120, ending with a semicolon. Next up, let's go with my goblins. So I'll go with goblin.health. Goblins most likely have like 100 health or like maybe 50 HP because they are pretty weak NPCs. Let me end that with a semicolon, and then I'll go with goblin.name. My goblin's name is gonna be, I don't know, maybe Tom, ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with something like goblin. Did I spell goblin wrong? Oh, let me change that to a lowercase goblin. Okay, and a lowercase arc. Okay, so I'll go with goblin.power. Maybe 25, ending with a semicolon. Why put enemies on stack use heap or dot data section? Honestly, I've not learned of those yet. I actually might look into those. For now, I'm going with like the basic stuff because before I actually go over and learn advanced stuff, I do want to first increase or like improve my fundamentals. So like later I'm like, I don't know that function. Okay, so I'll go with orc.health. Orcs are a bit stronger than goblins. I'll go with something like 300 HP. And then something like arc.name. My arc's name is gonna be, I don't know, maybe Peter. There we go. Let me end that with a semicolon. And lastly, let me go ahead and add a arc dot, let's say, power. My arc's strength is going to be something like 300. Okay, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon as well. Howdy Moha, I appreciate you joining the stream. Have you learned new and delete? Honestly, I did that last stream. I went over the new and delete keywords. That said, print all enemies' initial stats in readable format. Make these attacks use methods, not direct field changes. Okay, or constructor. Honestly, I've not used the constructor in C++, although I have used that in Python. That said, I'm pretty excited to use that in C++. Okay, so it says print all enemies' initial stats. So I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let's change that to console output. There we go. So this is going to be something like name. Okay, so my name is, let me go with something like enemy name. Are you making a game? Honestly, I'm working on like actually learning the basics. Eventually, I will make a game by the end of my programming for 250A series. So C++ might be pretty good for that. You can use new keyword to create those objects. That way, it will go to heap section. Oh, that does make sense. You can use the new keyword to create those objects. So I'm pretty sure the way you create new objects, although I'm used to creating those objects with like pointers, I actually might ask Sensei to like give me the next question that includes new and delete keyword as well. That said, my enemy name is going to be my, let's say, elf.name. So I'll go with my elf object.thename function, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe I'll go with power, or maybe HP. Okay, so this is going to be my enemies is HP. I'll add an insertion operator. This is going to be elf.health. On the other hand, with stack, you don't need to care about cleaning memory. Oh, I see. I actually might have sensei why cleaning memory is that important, because many of you guys did say me that I should actually clean my memory. That said, I'll go with another insertion operator. This is going to be my power. Okay, with another insertion operator of my elf.power, ending with a semicolon. Honestly, before I ended with a semicolon, let me go ahead and add a / new line. Okay, and then just to save time, I'm going to copy that and paste it maybe 3 times. Let me go ahead and paste that once. There we go, and now paste it one more time. Okay, perfect. He doesn't have a loop, so he can get away without welinating memory. Oh, I see. I love your streams. I appreciate you, Linux. Okay, let's see. Let me change elf to goblin. Okay, that's gonna be goblin. Let me change this to goblin as well. And lastly, change that to goblin. Okay, and then change my elf to orcs. Orc, and lastly, orc. Okay, perfect. That is pretty much it for displaying my memory. I could honestly... Okay, so it says, make these attacks use methods called make these attacks. Okay, print all enemy and then initial stats in readable form. Did that. Make these attacks use methods. Make these attacks use methods. Method calls, not direct field changes. So I gotta use method calls. Okay, now yes, but it might bite his ass in the future. Honestly, I might actually try cleaning memory next question. That said, so it says enemy A attacks enemy B, equal damage to enemy A's power. So my enemy A is my elf, so elf attacks goblin. So I could go with something like, let's say my elf dot the attack function, actually dot the attack method. Okay, so elf dot attack, I want to attack my goblin, so I'll go with goblin. Okay, let's see, is it called an attack function? Was it called? Oh, it's called take damage. Excuse me guys, so instead of going with attack, I'll go with something like take _ damage or take damage. Howding error is how do you pronounce your name? Is it pronounced as Edgeorithik? Is that how you pronounce the name? First, you should learn why you should clean memory better for cleaning purposes. I see. Okay, honestly, I might actually try that. Okay, this is gonna be something like, or let me go with something like goblin dot take damage. This is gonna be my elf dot power. Okay, that actually makes sense now. My goblin takes damage from my elf's power. Okay, next up, let's see. So enemy B attacks enemy C with equal damage to power divided by 2. So half the power. So my orc takes damage. So orc dot take _ damage or take damage. Okay. A pair of parentheses. My orc is going to take damage from my goblin dot the power. Okay, divided by 2. So half of goblin's strength. Is my take damage function wrong, or did I spell orc wrong? Yeah, that's the pronunciation. Okay, that's actually this thing, because I actually tried pronouncing you guys' name correct, because it feels kind of weird if I pronounce it wrong. I feel painful swapping. Oh, I see. Okay, why is my take _ damage not working? Did I spell it correct? I'm pretty sure I spelled it correct. Goblin dot take damage. Okay, is it... Did I spell something wrong? I'm pretty sure take damage is correct. So T-A... Oh, I spelled damage wrong. There we go. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon. Next up, enemy C attacks enemy A with equal damage. Okay, to power +10. So my enemy C attacks. So my enemy C is orc, so my orc attacks my elf. So let's go with something like elf dot take damage. Does orc have this method? Honestly, everyone has the method. I just spelled it wrong. Guys, I'm awful with pronunciations. Actually, spellings. Okay, so elf dot take damage. So orc is going to deal damage. So let's go with orc dot power. Okay, plus 10. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Next up, after those three attacks, print all enemies as final stats. Bro, use function instead of putting everything in a main function. Honestly, I did use a void method of take damage inside of my enemy structure. Although I could like use functions. Okay, that's it. Okay, so it says after all those three attacks, print all enemies as final stats. To save time, I could copy all this. Let me go ahead and copy it. There we go. Let me go ahead and copy that and just paste it. Okay, let me just paste it here. Okay, perfect. And maybe de-indent that. There we go. Okay. Next up, extra correction. Take damage must be a member function of enemy. It is a member function and must handle the print. It does handle the print. Okay, does it handle the print? Okay, it does handle the print. Use static console output for all printing. Okay, I think this is like pretty much it. Let me go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. If I were to hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, let's see. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay, it says a lot. So enemy Sarah, okay, HP, enemy Tom, enemy Peter. Tom took 120 damage and has 0 HP left. Peter took 12 damage and has 288 HP left. Sarah took 310 damage and have 290 HP left. These are the new stats. Okay, perfect. A tip is to put the logic relating to standard output outside a method so you don't have to reuse the same code so many times. Oh, I see. That actually does make sense. Okay, I might actually go with a bit harder code this time, which actually includes decision making. Let me paste this, go with Shift Enter, and say something like, let's say, I feel like I understand now. ... Although, can I get a question that includes, let's see, that includes the new / delete keyword, okay, and let's say if/else if/else clause, maybe loops as well, loops, functions, okay, ... Is there anything else that I'm missing? Loops, functions. I think that's pretty much it. Let me go ahead and send that. So you won a real trial now, huh, pupil? Good. That little Struct battle was just your warm-up swing. Now you face a mission that tests your control over everything you've learned: pointers, loops, conditions, functions, and structures. Okay, I forgot about pointers. Arena Simulator version 1, you write a program from scratch that simulates a battle arena using structs, functions, new/delete, if/else if/else, search solid principle once. Solid principle. Okay, let's see. Okay, and loops. I did like search solid principles. Let's see what it says. Okay, I think it's searching. Okay, let's see. Requirements. Create a structure. Okay, so let me get this here. It says the solid principle are a set of 5 design principles introduced by Robert Martin Unc Bob, okay, to create maintainable, scalable, and robust object-oriented software. These principles are widely used in C++ and other programming languages to improve code quality. Okay, I see. Here's a breakdown of solid principles with examples in C++. Okay, I think I see. I didn't understand much though. Okay, that said, write the following functions outside the main function. Void attack. Okay, so we have a void function with a few parameters. So we have fighter. Okay, honestly, why is the data type a fighter? We go with and attacker, fighter, and defender. Subtract defender's HP, Boolean is alive. Okay, hold up guys, this is a bit too advanced. I don't even think I learned half this stuff here. Okay, data interaction between objects. Let me say something like, let's say, dot dot dot. I feel like this is a bit more than what I learned, question mark. Is the fighter a data type, question mark, dot dot dot. Maybe a question that isn't this advanced. Okay, let's see. Huh. Good. You're thinking, pupil. That's what I want. Yes, a structure like fighter acts like a custom data type. You're absolutely right to question it. I didn't know that was a data type. But since you're still mastering the flow of memory loops and control, let's dial the battlefields back a bit. New challenge, enemy tracker v2. This version will test new/delete keyword, if/else, loops, a function, and structures. Your mission, create a program that tracks multiple enemies, lets you attack them, and removes once they're defeated. Okay. Structure definition, functions. I just need it verbally, like, hold up. Let me say something like, let's say, can I just get the instructions verbally and not the code reference? Guys, because I actually don't prefer seeing the references. I come from C. Embedded. Is computer architecture useful in C++ game dev? Oh, I see. Depends. People working on optimization need to understand computer architecture to utilize GPU and debug GPU related. I see. Okay, let's see. Good, you're asking for pure instructions, not hand-holding. That's a spirit of a true warrior. Listen closely, people. So, instruction 1. Create a structure called enemy. It must contain 3 members, a name, a health, a value, and a damage value. Write a function outside the main function that takes one enemy by reference, okay? An integer damage value inside that function subtracts the damage from the enemy's health. If the health is still above 0, say the enemy is still standing with that much HP. If the health is 0 or less, say the enemy is defeated, okay? In the main function, ask how many enemies the player wants to track. Dynamically create an array of enemies using the new keyword. Ask for each enemy's name, health, and damage, okay? Then loop through all enemies, each one, okay? Ask how much damage they want to deal. Call your attack function. When done, free up memory using the delete function. Actually, the delete keyword. Okay, I think I see. It is in some ways like if you're working with SIMD, but C++ is generally supposed to be more abstract than C. Oh, I see. Let's be honest, C is fancy assembler. I see. Okay, so let me start off by going with Control A, deleting everything, and then let's go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Maybe hydrate my lips then. Guys, my lips is kind of dehydrated. That said, let me go ahead and read the instructions. So it says to create a structure called enemy. It must contain 3 members, a name, a health value, and a damage value. So I'll go with a structure. There we go. And then a pair of curly braces. Actually, before I go with the curly braces, I'll go with a structure of enemy. There we go. Okay, so my structure is going to be having 3 members. The first member is going to be a standard string of, let's say, name, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with an integer of health. Did I spell string correct? There we go. And excuse me guys, I'll go with a integer of health ending with a semicolon, and then let's go with a integer of damage ending with a semicolon as well. C makes it much easier to write code with minimal overheat compared to ASM while still giving you raw access to hardware. All in C is amazing. Oh, I see. That actually sounds pretty cool. That said, let me end my structure with a semicolon as well. Write a function outside the main function that takes one enemy by reference and integer damage value, okay? an integer damage value inside that function. So I could go with a void function. Okay, this is going to be a write function outside the main function that takes one enemy parameter damage value. So I'll go with something like damage, a pair of parentheses. Inside my pair of parentheses, I got to take my damage value. So let's go with my enemy. Okay, so my enemy data type damage member. Does that work? That actually does work. Okay, next up I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then do something. Inside that function, subtract the damage from the enemy's health. If the enemy is still above 0, say the enemy is still standing with that much HP. Okay, so first I gotta subtract the enemy from the health. So until some moron hide pointers to functions inside defines pro tip. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's see. I gotta subtract my enemy's health. Could I have access to my health function? Okay, I cannot have I do not have access to my health function. Okay, that takes one enemy. That takes one enemy by reference integer damage value. Okay, it says by reference. So let's go with the address of operator. Okay, can I don't have access to my health? Okay, function shall return something at least to get error codes. Look how to value error paramat work. Bad design. I see. Honestly, let me go ahead and copy this. Good /ChatGPT here. I do have a few questions. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, so let's say dot. How do I get access to the let's say health method if my function is outside my struct? Should I convert my function to be a method inside my structure? That would make sense if it is inside of my structure. Damage doesn't belong to enemy here. Error correct should be class enemy private all the variables public methods is private all the variables like a function or something. This enables encapsulation. Is that I pronounced it? Either move damage inside enemy or use scope resolution. What integer fun integer a in C++? Huh, guys, I feel like I was kind of confused. Okay, no people, listen carefully. You don't need to shove it into the structure unless you want to make it a method. Right now your function is outside the structure and that's fine. The key is passing the enemy by reference, which you did correctly with enemy damage. Okay, the problem is your parameter damage is clashing with your structure member damage. Okay, that's confusing the compiler and your brain. Okay, here's how you fix it in your head, not in code yet. Rename your function parameter to something like enemy. Inside the function, you access the health using enemy.health. Oh, okay, I think I forgot enemy.health. Modify enemy.health with some damage value inside the function. This way, your function works with the structure. Oh, I see. Think, struct is data, function is weapon. If the weapon can strike the data, if it gives the reference, guys, I feel like that was kind of stupid. Integer pass the argument, reference not value. Passing by value when it comes to primitive type would make a copy of that value, while passing the reference allows it to change the original value. Honestly, that does make sense. ChatGPT is being stupid right now. Ask it how to make it under class structure, class enemy, Okay, now you can put the methods in here, bro. Just listen to me. Honestly, I actually do want to learn classes as well, but this stream, I am actually just working with structures. That said, inside of my void function, let me go ahead and add a enemy dot, let's say health. Okay, I'm going to decrease that or subtract that. Let me change this to something like enemy. There we go. So enemy dot health. Can't I access my health here? Doesn't this make sense? I have enemy here, so enemy.health. Okay, I should subtract that from my enemy. Okay, wait, this doesn't make any sense, honestly. Okay, let me actually go with another control. Use scope resolution. Okay, so for scope resolution, should I have made this a global variable? That's damage. Okay, you changed it. Huh. Okay, honestly, I can access enemy.health. Enemy.health. ENEMY. Is it correct? Classes are the same as structures. Classes are everything private, but default, and structure are everything public by default. Only technical difference. I see. Okay, you can put methods and structures to classes. Honestly, I eventually do want to go with what you call it. Classes as well. That's I want to figure out structures. Why is it not working? Small e. Would it make? I think the small e. Okay, how does that work, guys? Because enemy isn't that capitalized? How does the lowercase word work? Like, okay, that honestly. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm using my parameter. I thought I was going with my enemies as I thought I was going with my structure. This makes sense. Enemies is structure type variable. Enemy name is with a small e. Okay, that honestly makes sense. I thought that I was going with my enemies as structure, like how I usually do. I go with. Okay, this makes sense now. So enemy.health minus equals to my enemy dot let's say damage. There we go. Okay, there we go. This makes so much more sense. I was thinking that we go with my enemies as structure dot my member here. There we go. Okay, let's see. Next up, let me read the instructions. Okay, so it says write a function if the health is still above 0, say the enemy is still standing with that much HP. Okay, I have -10 in C++. Even though it works like a pointer, you don't dereference references. I see. Okay, enemy structure. Okay, next up, I gotta add an if statement. So if my health is still above 0, so I could go with something like if, a pair of parentheses. But just find a roadmap, you're confusing yourself. Learning your own shouldn't take you this long to learn C++. Honestly, I did have a roadmap, so I was going according to that roadmap. That said, today I should have started structures last stream, but I was working with the end and new keyword. Actually, the new and delete keyword. That said, I'll go with something like if my enemy dot, let's say, health is greater than 0, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. In case of this function, can enemy be null? Honestly, that's a pretty good question. I actually should ask that to Satsai after I'm done with this. Okay, so I'll go with the standard console output that says something like the enemy standing with that much HP. So let me say something like my enemy name. I could go with my enemy dot name, okay, with another insertion operator. Let's say is standing, and then I'll go in a new line to add an insertion operator. This is going to say something like enemy name is standing, let's say with. Okay, enemy name is standing with some health. So I could go with something like enemy.health. I think you rely of ChatGPT too much. You should avoid using it so much. Honestly, that does make sense. I actually do like, whatchamacallit, I just use ChatGPT slash Satsai for like questions and sometimes explanation because I feel like if I just try figuring everything out myself, I would just be wasting time if I don't actually know the basics. So once I do get the basics, I do a lot of practice questions. Learn to read docs like C++ reference. I should actually try that. Damage is unassigned. Okay, I think I will assign my damage inside of my main function. That would make sense. Okay, so let's go with enemy health. So enemy name is standing with enemy health. Okay, that much HP with 26. Let's go with HP. Exclamation. I'll add another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Damage is random data from memory. What is this, bro? Honestly, I'm just learning how to work with structures. That said, I'll go with an else clause. So I'll go with else, a pair of curly braces. I'll add a standard console output that says if enemy health is less than 0, I say that enemy is defeated. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm going to be going with my enemy.name with another insertion operator. I'll say something like is defeated, or maybe something like has been defeated. Exclamation with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, next up, inside of my main function, so I gotta create a main function now. So let me go ahead and typecast my main function to be an integer. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then go with a pair of curly braces, maybe a bunch of spaces. Okay, so inside my main function, ask how many enemies the player wants to track. So I could go ahead and let's say create an integer of track variable ending with a semicolon. Next up, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like how many enemies do you want to track? Let me just zoom out a bit. Okay, how many enemies do you want to track? There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding a question mark, maybe a colon and a space, ending with a semicolon. Next up, let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my track variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's see. Ask how many enemies the player wants to track. I did that. Dynamically create an array of enemies using the new keyword. So let's go ahead and create an array of enemies using the new keyword. So I'll go with something like new, which is going to be integer, a pair of parentheses, actually a pair of square brackets track. Do you know programming in Java? Honestly, Java is pretty fun. I actually wanted to start learning Java. That's it. I actually might do it pretty soon. You're entering object-oriented programming's territory without knowing its concepts. Honestly, I do know object-oriented programming. I did like do it in Python. That's it. The syntax might be different. What's confusing in object-oriented programming? I feel it's actually pretty easy as long as we know the basics. That said, dynamically create an array of enemies. I did that. Ask for each enemy's name, health, and damage. So ask for each enemy's name, health, and damage. Okay, maybe I could go with like a for loop. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of I, it's all sugar and stuff. Okay, for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than 0, I'm going to increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with a row of curly braces. Object-oriented programming is helpful when projects get quite big. Honestly, that does make real sense. Okay, let's see. So, firstly, I'll go with something like, actually, instead of less than 0, I'll go with less than my track variable. There we go. Okay, while my I is less than my track variable, I incremented by 1, or maybe I'm just used to it. I feel object-oriented programming is actually pretty helpful once we get used to it. Okay, object-oriented programming is very important for scalability and maintainability of softwares. Imagine searching through thousands of functions without knowing about them. That actually sounds pretty good. Refer to me as a caveman. When I work, print and blink is all you might have for debug. What are you trying to create? Honestly, I'm just learning the basics of functions, actually the basics of structures. That's it. I am creating like a kind of tracking an enemy type simulator. I forgot the name. Okay, the name was called something like, okay, I did forget the name. Okay, ask how much damage to deal, call your attack function. Okay, so basically I just find my enemies and then I attack them. Okay, so I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. I learned C++ with take you forward. I learned C++ with take you forward. Is that like a website? Okay, so let's go with a standard console output. This is gonna say something. I'll say something like enter the enemy's name. Actually, enter the enemy name. Actually, and enter a enemy name. That makes more sense. So enter enemy name. I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be let's see. So this is going to be my enemy's name. So I could go with my enemy name. Okay. So let's go with my enemy's object. I think I should create objects first. Okay, I might create my objects right here. So, okay, backwards. Jonas, guys, I actually can't read Hindi. Spend a day with oscilloscope to check if hardware is not working or it's your code. I actually might check that. Yes, from India, who teach logic and all necessary for learn C++. Honestly, I actually feel like I don't understand anything. Okay, that said, I gotta create a few objects, and guys, it's getting really hot here. Let me drink some water. Your bullshit tongue making you feel irritated. Guys, you guys can like mute the stream. Okay, so let me create an object. So I'll go with my enemy structures. Okay, so I'll go with enemy. Use using namespace std. Honestly, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because people did say me it is like considered to be a bad practice, because eventually when the code gets a little bigger, then it could cause like name clashes and use different libraries. That said, let's go with goblin. Ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with another enemy. This is gonna be an arc. Ending with a semicolon. Okay, these are objects. I ask how many enemies do you want to track out of these enemies inside of my object. So integer track, using namespace std is for noobs. Okay, please ask him to do code and be quiet for sometimes. Honestly, I should stop reading the chat, like it makes me real distracted. Yeah, having to debug code that needs to run before you part instance. Like mosquito in my room at 3 a.m. Guys, that's real annoying. Like I can like feel like having a mosquito in the room at 3 a.m. They just keep like buzzing on the ears. That said, this is gonna be maybe I delete this object. This is gonna be a standard console output with an extraction operator. I'll go with something like my enemy. Okay, dot name. Does this make sense? I don't think it does. Like, okay, I can't even use my void function, or can I? I'm pretty sure I can. So enemy dot name. How do I get access to my enemy's name? Maybe I could go with my array your program a lot in C. Okay, so entry enemy name. This is Struct. Actually, my loss is far too sensei. Let me go with the control C, get sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter, and say something like, let's say, dot. After I ask the user for the enemies, how do I get access to my enemy? Enemy dot the name function question mark or my members inside of my struct question mark. Create a object first. Honestly, I did like try creating objects, but then if I do create objects, I don't want to like specifically ask them for my specific objects' name. I do want them to ask a name for like all my objects. Wait, does that make sense? Could that make sense if I had an object? Because I did add that. Okay, bro is Belgique from Phineas and Ferb. Guys, I've honestly never heard of that. That said, people, I see exactly what you did wrong. Listen closely. Enemy is your type, not an actual variable. You cannot write enemy.name. That's like saying car.color without even creating a car object. You need an instance for your structure. Since you're tracking multiple enemies, you need an array of dynamic array of enemy objects. For example, dude, whole slash sys and proxy xd. You need an object for all enemies that you define in a new enemy and done. Honestly, I wanted them to like create objects. Like, couldn't they like once my player adds a name, can they like create one object itself? I thought that could work. Okay, that said, since you're tracking multiple enemies, you need an array to create a pointer to dynamically allocate an array of enemies. So I go with a pointer of enemies, which is equal to new my enemy at index of track. Did I go with something like integer? Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, that makes sense. So I go with a pointer. Okay. Now each enemy is accessed by enemy at index of I, name, enemy at index of health. Okay, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Okay, so inside of my tracker, when I want to like add something, let me go with something like integer of asterisk enemies. This is going to be my enemies' pointer, which is going to be equal to an array. So let me go with a new integer array. Okay, my structure is a data type, so I could go with my enemies as structure. Okay, let me change this to enemy at index of, let's say, track. Okay, this actually does make sense. Classes as structures is just a blueprint. It doesn't exist in memory till you create an object. I see, that actually makes sense. Okay, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon. That's new. Let me delete that. Did I do something wrong here? Excuse me, guys. So integer enemy equals to new enemy.track. Sir, I have an exercise for you. Go through your code token by token, put finger on it, and tell us what it is. It might help a lot. Honestly, I could. Okay, I'm marking, I think, to see them this way as another data types. I see. Okay, so this is basically structures. I created a few member objects inside. The reason I did create a structure is not to like struggle with like with giving every enemy's variables. That made any sense, guys. Okay, let's see. Did I do like something wrong? So this is going to be new enemy track. I feel like I did everything correct. Okay, so I go with integer enemy. Should I go with enemies? Okay, there we go. So my enemies is data type. That's an enemies is pointer, which is equal to new enemy data. Okay, explain structure to me like I'm 5. Okay, I actually like doing that. That's it. So basically what a structure is it works like a variable. So for example, I created an enemy structure here. Next up, inside of my main function, if I wanted to access a name, instead of creating a name variable, like a separate variable, I could create members inside of my structure and then create an object, for example, an object of elf. So I could just go with my object, which is going to be elf, dot my name's member, which is inside of my structure. I could set that to something like Sarah, and if I did that, I wouldn't need to struggle with searching or like thinking if I had a variable inside of my main function, if that made any sense, guys. I feel that didn't make any sense. Okay, so I'll go with the standard console output. Let's see, this is going to be, let's go with something like my enemies at index of free memory and anxiety attack. Your great vibes. I appreciate you, Fractal. Honestly, yeah, I'm definitely gonna delete my memory or like free my memory. Okay, so enemies at index of I. So enemies.name at index of I. Let's go with enemies.name at index of I. Isn't that how it works? The enemies at index of I.name. Okay, so let's go with enemies at index of I.name. Okay, so the first item inside of my enemies, I'll end that with a semicolon. This is going to be a standard console input with an extraction operator. Howdy, Ashish. I appreciate you joining the stream. You're a developer. Honestly, I feel like I'm a little bad. Using namespace STDs actually does opposite. Okay, even though it's fine for learning, it's also worth it to mention that you're generally supposed to avoid using raw new/delete. Oh, I see. I know. OS will clear memory afterwards. Oh, I see. Okay, standard console output enemies. So I asked the enemies' name. Let's go with another standard console output. So I'll go with currently drivers for Linux flavor. I see. Okay, although guys, I was actually planning to get a PC because like my stream does like a lot when I stream on my mini PC. That said, when I'm getting the operating system, do you guys think I should get Windows or Linux? I have like no experience whatsoever with Linux. That said, I'll go with something like let's say enter the enemy. So enter enemy name. Let's go with enter a enemy health. Enter enemy health. Okay, and then I'll end up with a semicolon. Where you live at? Honestly, I'm in the United States, but many of you guys did say me to avoid saying from where I am, so I'll try not saying that, guys. Okay, let's go with a standard console input Windows. Okay, with an extraction operator, I want to extract my enemies at index of I dot the health function. Okay, I'll end up with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert my enemies as damage. Is that called damage? Okay, let me go with something like enter enemy damage. And then I'll end up with a semicolon. That said, lastly, I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator This is going to be enemies at index of I dot the damage function. Mac, honestly, I've actually never used Mac, but I did, like, I tried Mac once, but it was kind of awful. Like, I did use my sister's laptop. I was embedded software engineer before. That actually sounds pretty cool. My boy just coding an IDK. Why? But you seem like a good humor guy. Guys, my humor is awful. I actually live under a rock. So the only jokes that I do know is like a knock knock joke. That said, then in your loop, you can ask the user to input the name, health, and damage. Okay, so I asked the user to do that. Later when you call your damage function, you do damage enemy at index of I. Remember, structure's blueprint instance is the real thing. For multiple enemies, you need an array of instance. Okay, so I asked the user for all this. Okay, later when you call damage function, you do enemy damage. Okay, so let me scroll all the way up to my instructions. Okay, then loop through all enemies for each. Ask how much damage you want to deal. Okay, so let's go with a loop now. Honestly, should I go with a while loop? Do you ever did you ever make a app? Honestly, I've not made an app, but after my Python for 100 series, I did make a game using PyGames. Okay, because I think you're good at this, guys. I feel I'm the complete opposite. Bro, start RL streaming, my boy, and I'll lock you in for hours. Honored word, my bro. Honestly, guys, I do want to do RL stream. That said, I don't have a camera. Okay, actually, I do have a webcam, but that webcam is like connected, like using a USB. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I should use a while loop. So loop through all enemies for each one. Ask how much damage. Actually, I might go with a for loop. Okay, well, he's technically making a console app right now. Is it an app? Okay, whoever's asking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I would suggest focus on JavaScript and then move to JavaScript framework. Oh, I see. Okay, so I'll go with another for loop. So for every integer of I, which equals to 0, while my I is, let's say, less than my track variable, I'm going to do something. I'm going to increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, let's see. Now I gotta ask how much damage you want to deal. How much damage you want to deal. Okay, so I could go with something like a standard console output. So I'll go with a standard console output. Don't do JavaScript. Do something good with your life. Am I the only one who has nothing to do with C or C++ but still watching? You can do JavaScript, but do go into closures. Honestly, actually, I might try JavaScript after my programming for 250 series. That's a go with a standard console output. And then let's do something. I'll say something like how much damage. Okay, so how much damage do you want to deal to? Okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This is going to be my enemies at index of I dot name. Okay, this is going to be my enemy name. And then I'll end that with a semicolon. How much damage do you want to deal to elf? Okay, so maybe I'll go with another insertion operator of just a space and a colon. Maybe a colon space. And then another insertion operator of, let's say, actually, I'll just end that with a semicolon. Okay, the best app. Can you suggest any app for making app, please? Honestly, I don't know any apps, but I do know a few softwares because like I've never tried programming in like phone. That said, for Python, I would actually recommend PyCharm because that's what I used. Although people did say me we can use VS Code for PyCharm as well. Actually, for Python as well. So I would actually recommend VS Code too. Yeah, I'm legally drunk. Okay, are you in these states for education or just citizen? Also, if you live in Boston, let's get job. Boy, you seem like a good person, homeboy. I appreciate you, Hurst. Hello. Okay, so I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. How old are you? Honestly, I'm 17, although I'm real close to turning 18. That said, let's go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. How much damage do you want to deal? This is going to be my enemies at index of I, okay, dot the damage function. I was having tough time making my music playlist, making a web app or something for it. Oh, I see. Dude, keep going. But look on compiler flag, comp, arch, and she good luck. Honestly, I appreciate it. That actually sounds pretty fun. Okay, let's go with damage. I will end that with a semicolon. So this should iterate over my array again and ask how much damage you want to deal to my name. Okay, I think that's actually perfect. Call your attack functions. So let me go ahead and call my attack functions. So I could do something like, what's my attack function called? Let me invoke my damage function. So let's go with damage and then a pair of curly braces. Actually, a pair of parentheses. 17. Damn, you're smart. Honestly, guys, I feel I'm the complete opposite. That said, I was having a tough time making my music playlist. Okay, you gotta hear me out. Let's start RL streaming. UIP, bro, I swear. God, word. I, bro, will be popping in a few months. How old are you? In which class are you? Honestly, I did start college. That's the reason I can't stream for that long, and I do start streaming a little later. Before, I used to stream like for hours straight. But guys, I have a lot of college stuff to do, so I can only program on stream. Okay, so function. I want to deal damage to, let's go with my enemies at index. Honestly, was it enemies at index of I dot my enemy name? I'm pretty sure it was that. Okay, so damage enemies at index of I. Okay, so this is going to be my damage. Okay, let's read the next instruction. Albert, are you developer? Okay, let's see. So it says, when done, free up the memory using delete. Let me go ahead and end this with a semicolon. That said, outside my for loop, let me go ahead and delete my enemy at index of track, or my enemies as pointers. So I want to delete my enemies as pointer. So I'll go with delete, a pair of square brackets, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let me go ahead and return 0. If I were to save the code and run the command, wait, you did your high school from Chicago? Honestly, no. Stack, is college easy to get into in the US? I mean, guys, I actually don't know how to answer that. As long as you guys are legal, it shouldn't be that hard. So, how many enemies do you want to track? I'll go with something like 3. Enter enemy name. Maybe, I'll say something like elf. Enter enemy health. I'll go with something like, I don't know, 600. And then enter enemy damage. I'll go with something like 150. Enter enemy name. I'll go with Orc. Orc has 500 HP and deals 200 damage. And then I'll go with a Goblin. Goblin has something like 300 HP, maybe 25 damage. Okay, how much damage do you want to deal to Elf? Let's say I want to deal something like 50 damage. Okay, so I'll go with 50. Okay, Elf is standing with 550 HP. How much damage do you want to deal to the Orc? I want to deal 100 damage. Orc is with 400 HP. How much damage do you want to deal to the Goblin? I'll go with 300. Goblin has been defeated. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the controller. Control C. Okay, without scholarship, it would be expensive. Honestly, yeah, I think I actually would. Guys, fact check me though, because I actually live under a rock, so I have like no idea whatsoever. Did you do your high school from these states? Okay, let me actually paste this. Hey there, I just started to learn Python. Good luck, Namir, with Python. Honestly, I feel Python is pretty fun. Okay, yes, people. Now you're getting it. Look at this. You correctly created a dynamic array of enemy structs with new enemy at index of track. You correctly accessed each enemy's members with enemy at index of I dot name, enemy at index of I at dot health, and enemies at index of I dot damage. You correctly passed each enemy by reference to your damage function. One thing to think about right now, inside your loop, you override damage that the enemy had, okay, with the user input. That means you're both asking for their original damage and then immediately changing it for the function. You might want to separate values, okay. That does make sense. One for the enemy's damage stat, one for damage the player deals. Otherwise, the enemy just hurts itself. If you want, I can guide you step by step to fixing that so damage calculation makes sense after battle actually works. Okay, let me say something like, honestly, let's say, I feel like I understand, although I might need to do, or actually to get more practice on this exact same question. Just a few tweaks. Okay, let's see. Already mic testing, mic testing. Guys, my OBS actually crashed. Did you do some sports in high school? Honestly, I feel like I haven't done that much, guys. I'm not that athletic, honestly, but I did do Kung Fu and I was like a black belt second degree on Kung Fu. That's it. Exactly, people. That's the spirit. Actually, not black belt, brown belt second degree. You've mastered the core mechanics, dynamic arrays with new slash delete, accessing struct mem act, accessing struct members dynamically, passing structs by reference to functions. All you need now is practice tweaking the logic, like separate player versus enemy damage or loop battles until enemies are defeated. Just small variations, not a whole new concept. I can give you 3 progressive practice drills. Okay, I need one question at a time. So let's say maybe one question at a time, question mark. Definitely I hated computer science and I chose mechanical engineering as my major, but Python teacher changed my perspective of computer science and coding completely. I definitely agree with Python is fun. Honestly, yeah, it actually is really fun. Have you used any header files other than IOStream it? Honestly, yeah, I've used the algorithm file like once. I've used vectors multiple times, and even there was one more to like round everything. I think it was IP or like IO man IP, something like that. You have done wrestling? Honestly, I've worked on kung fu. Like I actually did I actually did spar a lot when I used to do kung fu, but I actually haven't gone to like professional actual wrestling classes. That said, Albert, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you use the Okay, perfect pupil. I am an IP, yeah? Okay, perfect pupil. We'll take this one step at a time. Here's the first challenge. Instructional question number 1. Take your current enemies as program now. Instead of asking the user for damage in the loop, make it so that each enemy automatically attacks the player, reducing the player's health. Create a player health variable, example 1000, for each enemy. Subtract enemy damage from player's health. After all enemies attack, print out the player's remaining health. Make sure you don't allow player health to go below 0. This is your chance to combine structs, loops, and else if. Okay, let me get some GPT there. Are you gay? Guys, I get that so much for a reason. Like every stream, I at least get like 3 times that you're gay, guys. I'm not gay. Okay, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, and then let me go ahead and create a structure. Let me read the instructions. So it says create a player health variable. Okay, take your enemies as program. Instead of asking, oh, honestly, let me say something. I need a whatchamacallit. Guys, is the stream lagging? Did my OBS crash again? Huh, guys, did it actually crash? Okay, let me try restarting it. Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, guys, my stream wasn't lagging for a bit. I was actually glad it wasn't lagging, but I think the lag is back. That said, let me say something like, let's say, can I get a code that I need to write from scratch, question mark? Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's lagging. I might actually restart my entire PC again because that did. Already, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Okay, there we go. Was this the... Okay, was this the... right from scratch? There we go. Okay, let me check if the stream's going good. Am I audible? Okay, perfect. Let's see. Yes, pupil, listen closely. Here's what you need to write from scratch for this exercise task. Create a structure called enemy with 3 numbers, standard string name, okay, integer health, integer damage. In our main function, ask the user how many elements they want to track, dynamically allocate an array for enemy using the new keyword. Okay, loop over the array and ask the user to input each enemy's name, health, and damage. Create an integer variable called player health and set it to 1000. Loop over the enemies once and do the following. Subtract enemy's damage, okay, from player's health for each enemy. Ensure player health never goes below 0. After the loop, print player's remaining health X. Free the dynamic memory. Okay, I gotta ask the user how many enemies they want to track. Okay, I think I see. Let me get Sudsay slash ChatGPT here. Okay, why are there 2 ChatGPTs? Okay, let me go ahead and delete that. OBS is already running. Huh. Okay, let me zoom in a little. Okay, so I did include IO stream. Next up, let's see what to do. So it says create a structure called enemy with 3 members. So let me go ahead and create a structure. There we go. Okay, I'll create a structure called enemy. So let's go with something like structure enemy, a pair of curly braces. It says with 3 members in it. First is going to be a standard string of name and then integer of health and damage. So I could go with something like standard string of name. There we go, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with an integer of damage and health. Can we do it like this, guys? Is this legal to do? Okay, perfect. I think that does work. Okay, let me go ahead and hit Ctrl S to save the code. And guys, why is the stream lagging again? The stream was going so good for like, I don't even know, 30 or 45 minutes. Okay, and then I create a main function. Let me go ahead and create a main function. Okay, so I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main function, I gotta ask the user how many elements they want to track. Let me try to restart this thing. That might help the stream, guys. Okay, let's see. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Might restart OBS one more time. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. I think that should do it. Okay, let's read the instructions. So in the main function, I asked the user how many enemies they want to track. Guys, this lag feels even worse than the last one. Okay, I think it's good. Never mind, I think it's good. Okay, so let me go ahead and create an integer variable of track. Never mind, it's not good, guys. Okay, maybe zoom out a bit. Okay, I'm going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Guys, it's lagging so much. Okay, I want to insert something like ask the user how many enemies they want to track. I'll go with something like how many enemies do you want to track? Let's go with enemies do you want to track. Guys, this feels like one of the worst lags that's happened. Although I feel it is gonna, like, the lag is gonna end soon, guys. Stop. Okay, let's see. Let me add a question mark there. And then let me go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my track variable ending with a semicolon. Okay. Maybe I try restarting my OBS all over again. Okay, guys, if the lag just keeps going on, like I might end the stream soon though. Let me just try one more. Already mic testing, guys. Did that fix the lag? Okay, I'm pretty sure that fixed the lag. Okay, that was actually perfect. Okay, let's see. So the next instruction says ask the user how many enemies they want to track. I did that. Dynamically allocate an array of enemies using the new keyword function. So let me do that. I could go ahead and create a enemy. This is my data type. So enemy, which is going to be a pointer of my enemies. Okay, that is going to be equal to, let's say, my enemies is data type. So this is like an integer, a double. That's my enemies is data type. This is going to be at index of my track variable. There we go. I'm going to end that with a semicolon. Is that correct? Enemies asterisk track. That's my pointer. That's my data type. Okay, I feel like this should be correct. Did I spell enemy wrong? Enemy. Okay, I'm pretty sure I spelled it correct. Let me read the instructions properly. Okay, honestly, the way I did it last time was, let's see. Inside of my main function, I went with new enemy track. Okay, I did forget to add the new keyword, so let's try that. Okay, I'll go with new enemy track. There we go. Okay, so I think it is mandatory to add new when we do this. That's it. Let's read the next instruction. Okay, so it says dynamically allocate the enemy, loop over the array, and ask the user to input each enemy's name, health, and damage. Okay, so let's do that. I could go with a for loop, so I'll go with for, a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my track variable, I'm going to do something. let me go ahead and increment my I variable by 1, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, next up, I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Loop over the array and ask the user for the enemy's name, health, and damage. So let's do that. Uh, I could go with something like enter a name. Okay, this is going to be my enemy's name. I'll end that with a semicolon and then add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my enemy's name. So my enemy's name is going to be my enemy's pointer at index of, let's say, I. Okay, I'm pretty sure that should work. Enemies at index of I. Guys, did my OBS crash again? Let me check. Give a sec, guys. Let me actually try restarting OBS again. Alrighty, mic testing. Guys, I hope this, like, it's actually, okay, the lag might be worse. Actually, no, I think it's better. Okay, guys, I think we're good. Okay, so I went with enemies at index of I. Apparently, that is wrong. So I could go with enemies at index of... Okay, let me think. How did I access my enemies in my last code? I went with enemies standard console input, so enemies at index of I dot name. There we go, guys. I should recall. Okay, so this is name. I'll end it with a semicolon. Guys, I honestly might have to end the stream soon. Maybe after this question, because this is awful. Maybe something gonna be. Alrighty, mic testing. Okay, I hope this fixes the lag. That said, let me go ahead and go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Where was I? I was at damage, right? So I needed a damage. So let me go ahead and say something like enter a damage. Okay, or enter enemy damage. There we go. And then I'll end that with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract something like, let's say my enemies is pointer at index of I. Actually, my enemies is array, which is my enemies is pointer, which is equal to my enemies, which is equal to my new enemies is array. If that made any sense. Okay, so enemies at index of I dot the damage function ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's read the next instruction. It says to loop over the array. I did that. Create an integer variable called player health and set it to 1000. This should be inside of my main function, right? Okay, I could create it here. So I'll go with something like create an integer variable called player health. So I'll go with player health, okay, which is going to be equal to 1000. I'll go with 1000, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, loop over the enemies once and do the following. Subtract the enemies dot damage from the player's health. Okay. Loop over the enemies once. Subtract enemy dot damage from player's health. For each enemy, ensure player health never goes below 0. After the loop, print player's remaining health x free dynamic memory. Okay, so let me go with something like another for loop. So I'll go with for every integer of I which equals to 0, I'm going to do something. I'm going to check while my I is less than my track variable, I'm going to increment my I by 1 and then change this 1 to be an I. There we go. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces and do something. Honestly, I could have done it inside of my this for loop, but I think I need a new for loop. Okay, so it says loop over the enemies once and do the following. Subtract enemy.damage from the player's health. Okay, so my player's health, so I could go with something like my player health variable minus equals to my enemies' array at index of I dot damage. There we go. So that's my enemies' damage. I subtract it from my player's health. Ensure player health never goes below 0. Okay, let me actually copy this and add this inside of an if statement. Only if my player's health is greater than 0, I'll go with a pair of curly braces and do this. Okay, if my player's health is not above 0, I don't do that. Let me go with an else clause, so else a pair of curly braces. Let's see, ensure player's health is set to 0. Else, let me go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like player is dead. Player is defeated. Exclamation with an insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that said, after the loop, print player's remaining health X. So after the loop, right here, I could go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm going to insert something. Let's see. I could say something like my player name. So let's go with, actually, I don't have a player name. I'll go with player's health is, okay, and then I'll go with another insertion operator. Let me go with my player health variable with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then let me go ahead and delete a pair of square brackets. I want to delete my enemies as array ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let me go ahead and return 0. If I hit Ctrl S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, okay, so it says how many enemies do you want to track? I don't know, maybe let's say 3 enemies. The first enemy is going to be an elf, health is going to be 300, damage is going to be something like, I don't know, 150, and name is going to be, that's enemy's name, enemy's health, enemy's damage. The second enemy is going to be an orc. Orc has like 500 HP, orc's damage is 300. And then let's go with something like a goblin. Goblin has 100 HP, goblin does 25 damage. Okay, player health is 525 after being subtracted. Okay, perfect. Let me go with a Control-C, copy that, gets let's say /ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this, go with Shift-Enter. Honestly, let me just end it. Guys, my stream is not lagging yet, so I might not end it right now. Like, if I see that my stream starts lagging again, I might actually end it. Okay, yes, people, you did a solid job connecting structures, dynamic memory, loops, and conditionals, but I see a few things we need to sharpen. Player health could go below 0. Right now, if an enemy does more than remaining health, right now, if an enemy does more damage than remaining health, player health will be negative. Oh, I should have clamped it. I forgot that part. Okay, else, other than that, you've nailed the core structure of dynamic memory usage. And guys, that said, my stream did start lagging, so I actually might end it right now. Let me say something like, should say, I see ... That said, I am planning to end the stream right now because it's lagging a lot and I do have a lot of college assignments. That said, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream ? Question mark. A comment that says maybe a quote as well. Okay, let's see. Let me restart my stream before I read it. Already mic testing. Guys, I don't want the stream to lag while I end the stream. That's gonna be awful. Okay, let's see. Huh. Okay, let me get Sensei here. Okay, guys, is the stream lagging? Okay, it is honestly laggy a bit. I don't want to like end the stream while it lags. Let me restart my whole OBS. Already mic testing, guys. Okay, I feel the stream is pretty good right now. Okay, it's stable for a bit, guys. Is it stable? There we go. Okay, listen up, viewers. Our pupil just crushed pointer structs and dynamic memory flow loops and conditionals in C++ today. Remember, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. Keep pushing, keep yourself, don't let lag or distraction stop you from leveling up your skills. and our pupil, get back to those assignments or else I'll come haunt you doing dreams. Hugs, a high five, and a virtual kiss to everyone who coded along. Okay, guys, I didn't get mine. Now go master the day. Okay, let me go to my main camera. Alrighty guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I honestly did want to stream more. I could say I do have college assignments, but I actually am ending the stream because it is lagging a lot. That's it, I do have a lot of college assignments as well, and after my college ends, I might actually stream for 6 hours again like how I used to stream before. Oh my gosh, like how I used to stream before, excuse me guys. That said, I am also planning to get a PC soon, and I actually almost did get it. I gotta just build it and like record myself building it because I do want to show you guys how I build it. That said, once I do get a PC and my lag issue gets solved, I am going to be multi-streamer on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, maybe TikTok and Instagram as well if I like met the followers requirement. That said, if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. Link is in the description, and also join the Discord. You guys can get access to the Discord server by tapping !Discord on the chat. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.